What is good, my Greeny Beans? Welcome back to another hoop and banger from Greeny Bean. We are going to be making ourselves some tier lists today. Now, I've decided to start us off. Right now, the date is April 4th, 2024. The playoffs are right around the corner, and I'm trying to see what the chances are for these teams to win a championship. So, as you can see here, I'm on Tier List Maker. Shout out. They made this for Kenny Beecham. You know, I fuck with Kenny. He's the GOAT, man. He's the GOAT NBA YouTuber, in my opinion. And they made this for him. This is all of the teams, and this is my personal belief, their chances to win a championship. Now, I am a Warriors fan, so there's going to be a little bit biased towards the Warriors. Listen, I'm not a bandwagon. Please. All right, so we're just going to start this off right away, and let's start ranking these teams. Now, the Milwaukee Bucks. This team has been pretty polarizing in the past 5 months at least. Like literally, their two most recent games, they played against the Washington Wizards and they played against the Toronto Raptors, I want to say. Let me double check this. They played against the Washington Wizards, that's for sure. And today they played against the Memphis Grizzlies.
Bruh.
Two teams who are for sure not making it to the playoffs, who are in the bottom two seeds of both of their respective conferences, and they lost. The Milwaukee Bucks lost to two teams who should be losing every single game in the season. The Memphis Grizzlies do not have John Morant, okay, which is a key piece that they need to be able to be a playoff contender. The Washington Wizards have Jordan Poole. There ain't no pool party. Jordan Poole has been playing better recently, I must say, but overall, the Washington Wizards are very bad. So, saying that, the Milwaukee Bucks do have Damian Lillard and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Without Dame, they did lose those two games, which, to be honest, should still not have happened. They are much better than both of those teams without Dame. They still had Chris Middleton. He is not out. So, because of that, I'm going to put the Milwaukee Bucks in B tier. I do not think they're going to win the championship. They lost to Jimmy Butler 4-1 gentleman sweep last year. Of course, Giannis was out with an injury, but still. They are going to be, I'd say, second round exit, maybe even first, but I do not think they're going to they could make the Eastern Conference Finals, but now that Embiid is back, I would be surprised. Now, the Brooklyn Nets, we already know where they're going. They're going in F tier. They are out of the play-in picture. They have been bad. Realistically, the Nets, they traded for Mikal Bridges. They got rid of their key pieces in Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and obviously James Harden back in 2021. That big three did not pay off how they wanted it to. They were going for a championship. They could not. Reminds me of the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, Brooklyn Nets team as well. But now that team's broken up, and their main lineup consists of Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Cam Thomas, Nicholas Claxton, and it used to be Spencer Dinwiddie, but he got traded to the Lakers. I'm trying to remember who that fifth person is. Anyways, their lineup realistically is a good lineup on paper. Cam Thomas has been balling out recently. He's been getting 30 pieces, 40 pieces even, 20 pieces almost every game. Mikal Bridges has been a letdown, unfortunately. Mikal Bridges, he seemed like he was going to be a star. Those first 12 games on the Nets, he was dropping 40 pieces, 35, almost triple doubles. He was cooking, but guess what? He did not turn out to be what the Nets needed. That's why I put them in F tier. Also, they are ass this year. Now, the New York Knicks, they have been balling out this year. The Warriors traded Dante DiVincenzo to them, which is very sad for me because Dante DiVincenzo has been balling the fuck out. On the Warriors, he was good. He was not a 40-point per game scorer, which, I mean, he isn't now, but he did drop 40 in a very recent game. I don't remember against who. But the Knicks have been cooking. I'm also going to put them in B tier next to the Bucks. I don't think they're good enough. They're not better than the Bucks right now. If Lillard is healthy, if Giannis is healthy, if Chris Middleton is healthy, they will beat the Knicks 90% of the time. But Jalen Brunson, he needs more help, in my opinion. He had 61 points in a loss against the Victor Wembanyama-led San Antonio Spurs, where Victor Wembanyama dropped 40 points, had 20 rebounds, and 7 assists on good shooting numbers. So they're going to go in B tier. I do believe they could get that push if they play really good, but they're probably going to be a first to second round exit as well. Toronto Raptors, they are bad this year. They were expected to be better. but they traded away some key pieces in OG Anunoby and Pascal Siakam, and they got themselves Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett. Now, RJ Barrett, he has been cooking recently, but I can't put the Toronto Raptors higher than a D. RJ Barrett has been paying off. Emmanuel Quickley has been pretty solid, but that lineup that they have has just not been able to work for them. Unfortunately, I like the Raptors. You know, they're a nice team. I was looking forward to them possibly being in the playoffs. But even with Scotty Barnes, even with that whole lineup, Scotty Barnes could be easily a top 25 player in the next 5 years. But he's not right now, and that's a key reason why they're not going to be able to even make the playoffs at this rate. The Utah Jazz have a similar story. I'm going to place them next to the Toronto Raptors because the Jazz do have Lauri Markkanen, who was most improved player last year, and Lauri Markkanen is very good. Jordan Clarkson, a great six man to come off the bench. They have Keontae George, who's a great scorer and a great rookie. They have Colin Sexton has been scoring a lot recently, and they have the second leading player in blocks per game in Walker Kessler, who is a candidate for Defensive Player of the Year, which in my opinion should be Victor Wembanyama and not Rudy Gobert. So that's a good lineup on paper, but they do not have that key superstar, because Lauri Markkanen, he can be a superstar, but this year he has been kind of not showing what he needs to be showing. So I'm going to have to put them in D tier. Now, coming up next is the Rockets. Recently, they have been a rival to the Warriors, which, listen, for me, everything is through the lens of the Warriors. They have been pushing to get to the 10th seed and surpass the Warriors, but the Warriors have gone on a 5-game winning streak as of now and have been keeping that seed, and the Rockets have lost 2. Ever since Alperen Sengun got injured, their chances to make the playoffs have been slipping more and more every game. Jalen Green has turned into a true superstar in the absence of the Turkish beast, but he's still not good enough to carry them. Dylan Brooks, he looked good in the beginning of the season. Fred VanVleet, he looked good in the beginning of the season, but they have both gone downhill. I'm going to have to put them in C tier, because if they do make the play-in, which is highly unlikely, I don't think they're going to even make the playoffs. So they are not winning a championship this year. The Pelicans. Now, the Pelicans, they have been cooking recently. Zion has been healthy. He's been playing good. But again, they're just not good enough. They have no playoff experience. They are too young to be able to make the playoffs. So we're going to put them with the Rockets. They are better than the Rockets. We're going to put them here because realistically, they could make a push for they are in the playoffs. 100% they're in the playoffs, but they are going to be a first-round exit if I were to say so. The Los Angeles Lakers.
You are my sunshine, my only sunshine.
This team right here is one of the most polarizing teams in the NBA. One of the most polarizing teams, because they will go out and they will destroy the Milwaukee Bucks in a double OT victory, you know? But then they'll go play the Chicago Bulls and lose by 20. You never know with the Lakers whether LeBron James and Anthony Davis are going to play really well, the whole team is going to play well, or everyone's going to play like a pair of ass cheeks. I know a lot of people who love the Lakers, and I know it's for a good reason. They're going to go into the B tier, because if they make that playoff push, LeBron is LeBron.
You are my sunshine.
Anthony Davis has been playing pretty good recently, so they're going to be put here just because if they do make that play-in, they beat, I believe the Warriors would be who they were playing against. If they beat the Warriors and make it to the playoffs, which is a tough matchup for the play-in tournament, they might be able to make a push and start cooking. Possibly a second-round exit. Possibly. But for now, I'd say first round to play-in exit. Now, moving on to the Chicago Bulls. They have been so strange. This year, the Chicago Bulls have been the most weird team ever because Zach LaVine has not played all year. DeMar DeRozan has been playing really well. He's been dropping like 24 per game. He's been hitting crazy game winners. They have the most improved player. It's not Tyrese Maxey. It is Kobe White. They have him on the roster. Ayo Dosunmu has been an amazing piece to have from the bench. They have a pretty solid lineup. They have Vooch. Pretty solid lineup, but they're going to go in the F tier. I'm sorry, Chicago. I wish you guys could do something else, but you really need a superstar, and you do not have that right now. They have DeMar DeRozan, but he's a borderline superstar. He is not a superstar. Unfortunately, they're going to have to go in the F tier. They are not even in the play-in picture right now. Actually, they might be in the play-in picture. They might be in the play-in picture, but I think they're around the 12th seed at the moment. They are in the play-in. They're in the 9th seed. I forgot that the East was so ass. So, they're in the play-in, but they're most likely going to lose to the Hawks. If not, they're going to have to play the Pacers or I forgot what the other team was. It was a good team, though. It was the 76ers. That's who they were. And Embiid is back. So the 76ers in the play-in, they're not going to be able to pass any of those teams. They are the worst team in the Eastern Conference play-in right now. On the other hand, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. Right now, they are one of the best teams in the league, and I'm putting them in the A tier. I don't think they're going to win the championship, unfortunately. They have a good chance. But I'm putting them in the A tier because Karl Anthony Towns has been injured. Rudy Gobert has been playing really well. Anthony Edwards has been playing really well. But their key pieces in, Kyle Anderson, he hasn't been playing very well. Jaden McDaniels has been kind of on a downhill slope recently. Last season, he was a great rookie for them to have. He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. His defense is really there. His shooting was really, really good last year. But this year, he's been down in points, down in shooting percentage. His defense is still there, but he hasn't been contributing that key piece that the Timberwolves need to make a playoff push. They could go to the Western Conference Finals, but it's going to be a tough push for them. I'm guessing they're going to be a second round to Western Conference Finals exit, but I doubt they'll go out in the first round. Then we have the Portland Trail Blazers, one of my favorite teams. Unfortunately, I am going to have to put them in the F tier because they do have an alright roster, but it just hasn't been paying off. DeAndre Ayton, the first pick overall in 2016, he came in, but he has been a real disappointment in the NBA, I must say. He got traded to the Trailblazers and he was playing all right, but then he just went downhill and he's back to being the DeAndre Ayton that we all know. So he's not going to be able to do anything for the Trailblazers. They, of course, have Jeremy Grant. They have a few key pieces. They have Matisse Thybulle, I believe, who's a pretty good defender, an okay scorer, bad shooter. But the Trailblazers, they're just not even going to be able to make a playoff push at all. They are out of the play-in picture. They're bad. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm very sorry to Trailblazers fans out there, but, the two of you. But the Trailblazers are just bad recently, unfortunately. Now we have the defending champions, the Denver Nuggets. This is a team who has the highest chance of winning the championship this year. They do have a very high chance of winning this championship. They're going in S tier. They're the defending champs. They have the possible MVP in Nikola Jokic, even though I don't think I'm not saying he doesn't deserve to get MVP. I just think that the race is just so stacked, it's very hard to do so. So we're going to put them in S tier because they have a really high chance. The Nuggets, I believe, are a lock for the Western Conference Finals. They're most likely going to go there. And they could match up against the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are also a very solid team with a possible MVP candidate in Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Recently, Shai has been out. Josh Giddey has been balling. He's been dropping more than 18 points a game, which is surprising because he doesn't like more than 18. But he has been balling out recently. J-Dub, Jalen Williams, the better Jalen Williams on the Thunder roster, has been playing really well as well. And seriously, the Oklahoma City Thunder are a very good team right now. They have Lou Dort, who could pop off for 40 points at random. I'm putting them in the A tier, though, because I don't think they have that playoff experience, that true skill to be able to win the championship, especially over the Denver Nuggets, who are the reigning champions. I think the Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves are similar in that situation. They really don't have that playoff experience. So, unfortunately, they're going to go into the A tier. They could make the Western Conference Finals, though. Coming up next, we have the Memphis Grizzlies, immediate F tier. Ja Morant's out for the season. If Ja Morant was in, they could easily be a top 8 seed in the West, but right now they are looking like they're going to be not even in the play-in tournament. They're going to be not even considered for the playoffs, and that's because they've just been playing bad. Jaren Jackson Jr., he has not stepped up and been that superstar that the Grizzlies needed. Him and Desmond Bane, they've been playing all right, but the Grizzlies really need a superstar like Ja Morant to carry their team, to be able to actually win some games and get to that championship level, but even a playoff level, but they cannot do it. So we're going to put the Grizzlies in F tier. They're completely out of the playoff picture. The Dallas Mavericks, this team, they came into the league this year and they have just been on and off, realistically. Luka Doncic, in my opinion, deserves the MVP this year. Just the way he's playing, he's averaging almost a triple-double on 34 points per game. He's leading the league in scoring ever since Embiid got injured, who was leading the league in scoring, and he has been playing like a maniac. So Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks, I think they're going to go again into the B tier. I don't think they could be able to make the Western Conference Finals because with these young teams, they could beat them, they could pass them, but I don't think they're going to make a championship push at all. The Mavericks have just not been there this year. They can be really good if Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic play really well, but the issue is they don't have good enough role players. If Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving had more help around them, if they got some good role players, go out and get someone like Jaden McDaniels, get someone like Lou Dort, Naz Reid, more role player centered players, you know, people who are fitting well in their role. That's what they need right now, but they do not have that. They have Dante Exum, Derek Lively, who's a good rookie but not good enough, and we're gonna have to put them in the B tier because if they had better role players, they could easily win the championship, but they do not. So we're gonna put them in the B tier, and we're moving on to the San Antonio Spurs because the San Antonio Spurs, I'm putting them in the F tier. Unfortunately, Victor Wembanyama does not have nearly enough help around him, but their future is very bright because they have Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Victor Wembanyama, Jeremy Sohan. They have really solid young players who could easily evolve to be superstars around the league without a problem in the next 5 to 10 years. They are definitely championship contenders in the next 5 to 10 years, but now they're not even close to winning a championship. They really have to develop that team more. The Phoenix Suns. This team has been so polarizing, and they're going in the B tier because they have such a good team on paper. Realistically, they should be the number 1 seed just by looking at the players that they have. They have Kevin Durant, a previous MVP, Devin Booker, MVP candidate, averaging more than 26 points a game. They have Bradley Beal, who's an amazing shooter to have, a good three-point shooter, and they have Grayson Allen, the leader in three-point percentage this year. They have Yusuf Nurkic, who is a very good center to have as a role player around 3 superstars like KD, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal, but they have just not paid off. They have played, I believe the big 3 from the Phoenix Suns have played 39 games together, and their record is about 26 wins to 13 losses, which should be so much better than what they have. Realistically, the Phoenix Suns should be playing much better than they are, but they are not, which is why they're going in the B tier. Now, moving on to the Los Angeles Clippers. This team is going in the A tier. Like, everyone thought when they traded for James Harden that it was a bad move, that it was not going to work out for them when they did that at the trade deadline. But they got James Harden, and they started off losing, and then they started winning, and they have not stopped that winning. They are winning so many games, blowout games. They're destroying everyone. Obviously, they do lose every once in a while, but the Clippers have just been insane. If they had this team from the start, they would be the 1 or 2 seed in the West. That's my opinion right now. They are the 4 seed, so they are a lock for the playoffs. But the Los Angeles Clippers, they have James Harden, Paul George. They have Russell Westbrook coming off the bench. Obviously, Russell Westbrook has not been that good in recent years, but he's been playing pretty good on the Clippers. And they have Kawhi Leonard. What a lineup to have for previous superstars in the league. Some of them are even superstars now, like Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. And having those players is just such a good argument to be able to go for the championship. I think they are almost on par with the Nuggets. Obviously, there's one more team who is on par with the Nuggets, and I think that's the lock for the finals matchup. But don't think the Clippers are going to be able to make the finals. They're an easily a second round exit to a Western Conference Finals lock in. So we're going to put them in the A tier. And now, my favorite team, the Golden State Warriors. Slightly disappointing this season. Steph Curry has been balling out. Klay Thompson can't seem to beat the washed allegations. Draymond Green has been playing like it's the WWE. They have good rookies in Brandon Podziemski and Trace Jackson Davis, who are really good rookies. I'm putting them in the B tier because the Golden State Warriors, they have so much playoff experience that they could beat the Lakers going to the play-in. They could be a second round exit if they wanted to, but I do not think that they're going to be able to beat teams like the Oklahoma City Thunder, like the Minnesota Timberwolves, like the Clippers, or like the Nuggets. So it's going to be a tough matchup for them to be able to make it to even the Western Conference Finals. So we're going to put them in the B tier. Although they are my favorite team, I'm going to have to not allow them to reach the finals. So yeah, B tier for them. Now we move on to the worst team in NBA history. The worst team in all sports history. The Detroit Pistons. Horrendous. Horrible. Worst team in the league. Bad. They have Cade Cunningham. Yippee, that's all they have. F tier, worst record in the league, worst losing streak to ever be recorded in NBA history. I don't have to say anything more. You guys know why they're in the F tier. Moving on to the Sacramento Kings. The Sacramento Kings are in the 7th seed at the moment in the West, I believe. And they're going into the C tier because they cannot beat the Warriors, they can't beat the Lakers, they can't beat the Suns. This is like the Lakers, Kings, Suns, and Warriors are in the play-in tournament. The Kings are going to be the first ones to lose because the Kings, they looked so much better last year. This year, they do have the leading player in rebounds, Domantas Sabonis, but De'Aaron Fox has not been playing to the same level that he did last year. Neither has Sabonis. Definitely, Keegan Murray has been on a downward slope because he was playing really good last year. Recently, it's gone downhill. So we're leaving them in the C tier because I do not think they're going to be able to make that playoff push whatsoever. The Cleveland Cavaliers, they're going to be... This is a hard choice for me because Donovan Mitchell has been out. I'm not sure if he'll be able to make the playoffs. I'm going to put them in the C tier because even if Donovan Mitchell makes the playoffs, they're not good enough to beat these teams in the B tier realistically. Put any of these teams against them, I do think that they will beat the Cleveland Cavaliers by a hefty margin. We're going to leave them in the C tier for the C in Cavaliers. Now we have the best team in the league. They're going into S tier. I don't even have to talk about this. They are in my opinion, they're going to win the championship this year. The Denver Nuggets are really good, but the Boston Celtics have added Kristaps Porzingis and Drew Holiday for a couple of nickels and a piece of string onto their lineup, and they have been playing incredibly well. They have Derek White, they have Peyton Pritchard, they have Al Horford, they have such a deep lineup. They have Jalen has a left hand, Brown, because he proved it this year somehow. And they are easily going to make the finals. No team on the East can match up with the Boston Celtics, except for one team, which we will be getting to later. We'll be getting to that team later. Moving on, we have the Philadelphia 76ers. Now, Joel Embiid has been injured for the majority of the season after Jonathan Kuminga. I forgot to talk about Jonathan Kuminga, by the way, on the Warriors. He's insanely good this year. Anyways, Jonathan Kuminga landed on Joel Embiid's knee. What? Landed on Joel Embiid's knee. Landed on Joel Embiid's knee and injured him for almost the whole season, but he is back now. They are in the 7th seed play-in, but they are definitely going to be a B team. I was going to put them in A. I changed my mind because the Philadelphia 76ers, they have just not been the team that you want to see them being. You know, Joel Embiid, he was my leading MVP candidate at the beginning of the season before he got injured. 35 points a game, unstoppable force, but he got injured. So I think they can make a second round exit easily, possibly of Eastern Conference Finals, but I would be surprised because they just don't have the roster that they need. Tobias Harris, Tyrese Maxey, Joel Embiid, they've all been playing pretty good this year, but they're not going to be able to make that happen. Not going to be able to get that ring, I don't think. So, anyways, the Charlotte Hornets are an F-tier team. They don't have it, man. They have a really good rookie in Brandon Miller. They have a good player in LaMelo Ball. Miles Bridges has been balling out recently. Allegations. But they're not even going to make the playoffs, so they're going in the F tier. Same story for the Washington Wizards. We talked about this. Jordan Poole, Kyle Kuzma, Corey Kispert, Denny Avdia. They have a pretty solid starting lineup, realistically. They're all right, but they are not even close to making the playoffs. They are almost the worst team in the league, and they're going against the worst team ever to exist, the Detroit Pistons. So I don't know how they're doing it, but they are trying to be the worst team in the league, you know. At this point, it's like, don't be that team anymore, right, Kyle? You're that team. All right, the Orlando Magic. They're going into the C tier. The Orlando Magic, they came into the year being one of the best teams in the league at the beginning of the year. They had a really good winning streak. They were leading the East, I believe, in the seeding at one point. That was early on in the year. Recently, they've gone downhill. Back in the beginning of the year, Franz Wagner was cooking. He was looking like the best player on the Magic. He's gone downhill. Paolo Banchero has been a solid 20-point game scorer, good defender for the Magic. They have an alright lineup, but they are not going to be able to make that playoff push. I don't think they're going to make even the second round. They're probably going to be booted in the first round exit kind of team. Now we move on to the Miami Heat. Now everybody knows the Miami Heat when it comes to the playoffs. Regular season, Jimmy Butler, you'll see him drop 17 points a game. He's not even averaging anything good. Then the playoffs come, and he turns into prime Michael Jordan. I was thinking about putting them in A tier, right? They're going into the S tier because they have Jimmy Butler, man. You never know with the Miami Heat. They're in the play-in picture. They're gonna go to the playoffs. If they don't go to the playoffs, I will be very surprised because Jimmy Butler is Jimmy Butler. He's the best playoff player this league has possibly ever seen. definitely this year, he's the best player in the playoffs that you can ever ask for. Jimmy Butler could carry the Miami Heat to another finals appearance against the Denver Nuggets and possibly win. But they've done it with the Lakers, they've done it with the Nuggets last year, and they've lost both times. So I really want to see that Heat team win a championship because Jimmy Butler has been playing insane in the playoffs. Jimmy Buckets, Himothy Butler. Now, the Atlanta Hawks. They are a D-tier team. I don't think that they can beat these teams in the C tier. I know, yeah, the Bulls were the worst team in the play-in tournament for the East. The Hawks are better, but not by much. Trae Young has been out. DeJounte Murray has been playing really well, but I don't think they're going to be able to make that playoff push that they need to make. They're a first-round exit for sure, but I do think they're going to make the playoffs because they're probably going to beat the Bulls in the play-in game, but they are definitely a first-round exit. The Indiana Pacers, they're going to go into C tier. I don't want to push this too far. Indiana Pacers, they were really good in the first half of the season. After the All-Star break, Tyrese Halliburton has gone downhill. He has not improved that much, so they're going to go in the C tier along with these teams. I think this is a great ranking, I'm not going to lie to you, because these three teams are insane. They're all easily playoff pushers, especially these two. The Nuggets and the Celtics are going to be the finals matchup. I'm not going to lie, but Jimmy Butler and the Heat beat the Celtics last year, so there's a chance that they might be able to do it again. But yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. See ya.